me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon.
Richard Moore, USAGSA. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. What's left of it. Hopefully, I'll have this. You'll be watching this prior to midnight. Not, it's always tomorrow. And today, I'm talking about a serial killer. And we need to get some help identifying who this person is. And we'll talk about the ones in the Mooreville, Mississippi area. The story is not heard from the mainstream media. And we're not just going to talk about it being isolated to Mooreville, Mississippi. I think if you'll hang with me here, that person that needs to be identified, or persons, could quite possibly be in your community. Let's get on with the show then. Before I jump into it, in the description video, the link tree, and our link tree will take you to some of the other links that we're on, of ways you can support us, including becoming a patron on Patreon. Everything goes there first. I encourage you to look at my Substack. I blog and write and have written extensively about corrupt government programs, corruption. We've put a face on evil. We'll continue to do that. And giving voice, of course, to the voiceless. Some that are no longer with us. But many people, between 4 and 8 million annually, are set up for systematic destruction. American citizens, by American citizens, without any consideration of any protection of civil liberties and the rule of law. All of this is circumvented by those in positions of trust, criminals with badges, prosecutors, and rogue judges. And not to mention the military-industrial complex and their hand in this of making sure that these criminals have all the bells and whistles they need in order to carry out the mission of destruction. Everything that I talk about on this program, folks, and have talked about, will talk about, is based on facts. None of it is based on conjecture, conspiracy, or maybe some type of thought process. It's based on fact. I'm always prepared to challenge anything that is broadcast here with anyone that would dare step forward and say, that's not true. I've got my part of the deal as long as they've got their part of the deal, and they never do. They just like to say things. But their follow-through game is pitiful. And also, if you want to contact me, my email address is in there. And I do want to hear from you. I do think it's important that people who have been victimized, that one of these, we're all going to die. None of us are going to make it out of this deal alive. I understand that. But somehow, we at least would like the rest of the world to know, especially those around me, that around you, maybe family members or whatever, or whoever, for future generations. I think that's very important. They don't want to leave this world without somehow being able to leave at least a story of what happened to them. That is important. I don't know. You know, we believe that history is important. We can base our future based on the things of the trial and error and things of history. But folks, when you understand that this community policing mechanism do not, and I repeat, do not embrace anything cited in historical perspective. They dismiss it. In other words, we're not going to base anything we do based on history. We're going to make our own history. We're going to break the mold. We know that didn't work, this didn't work, but we collectively will make it work because we want it to work, even though it's screwed up, illegal, crimes against humanity. It doesn't matter, but they want to make that the acceptable quid pro quo. So, how many babies, unborn babies, have been murdered and are still being murdered? Now, Lynn Fitz, the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi, will try to hang her hat on being the person that got Roe v. Wade overturned. And everybody should applaud her, should they? I think that the person that will have something in that deal to hang their hat on will be the person that manages to prosecute these abortionists and these abortion mills that did the killing for all these years. I think you can hang your hat on that. To hang your hat on, if we are going to do the abortions, okay, good. Well, it took long enough, didn't it? What about the murderers? If you're telling me, Lynn Fitch, that these children are they're a human being upon conception, I believe that. Then why are you not pursuing? Because when they were doing it, they were doing it legally. Well, we know that that the vast majority of these abortions were not done legally. That doctors loopholed them in. They were late term. It's so big. There's a whole lot of criminality in this deal. Hey, you take one person trying to blow up an abortion clinic, and every law enforcement agency on the planet conducting a dragnet. But the 25 innocent babies they murdered the week before that, those people never saw a dragnet. Y'all don't get the drift. And so, but that's not today's subject in Moorville, Mississippi. And folks, this is wake-up call, or it should be. Now, and I hope that after this that someone in the Moorville area will be brave enough to submit that tip. My contact information there of who is actually behind this. We can maybe stop something before we start trying to figure out what's really happening to these unsolved deaths. How many deaths have you had in your community where it's up to drug overdose and apparent suicide, this, that, and the other? And you knew, and you know that's a damn lie. I don't believe not buying it. We have a whole nation of people that's somehow in denial, and then another segment are delusional. Just a small segment of these orgasmics believe that they're the only ones that have the true truth. And they've redefined what truth means. I'm going to give you these names first, and well, we can put this in proper perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Because the individual that we want to ID here fits in this category, or individuals. So hang with me if you're not Moorville, Mississippi, because this is for you too. Maybe you've heard some of these names. And I'm going to tell you what they all got in common. They've all got a characteristic, a strong characteristic, okay? It's not just a characteristic. It's even more than that, according to the FBI. Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Albert DeSalvo, the Boston Strangler, David Berkowitz, son of Sam, Edmund Kemper, the co-ed killer, Dennis Rader, BTK killer, Carol Edward Cole, Henry Lee Lucas, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, Luke Woodham, Patrick Wayne Kearney, Jesse Pomeroy. What are these people? These serial killers that were responsible for crimes unspeakable in good numbers. What did they all share? What was that thing that they shared with each other? They tortured animals as a child, and they killed animals. And with Ted Bundy, that progressed to the brutal rape and murder of dozens of women across the United States. The FBI according to the FBI, animal cruelty is now tracked alongside homicide, arson, and assault because it's a precursor crime. Everybody get that? Now, a few days ago, my little dog made friends with a big pit bull. It was a blue pit. Little mix in him, but he was still kind of a big dog. And dog loved everybody, including my little big dog. The first time it seen it, he just jumped on and it got scared to death. He wasn't a person dog. My little dog was screaming for dear life. It was wet head to toe from just being licked too much. And my little dog couldn't wait to get back to see this one. Now, this dog didn't play in the road or anything in this particular area of Moorville. Has a deep concentration of frontline crash dummy stalking rats working for criminals with badges. What drives these individuals, what drives this program is the ability to get the caliber of person that is susceptible to programming, redefining what a moral is, what the difference between right and wrong, because the program and their handler condition them on what that is. The lady at the house alone heard the dog that was making a screaming noise, And by the time she got outside, she didn't see or hear anything. The female dog, for a few days, the dog never saw the dog again. The female dog it just was in a complete uh, just a that's a trance. I mean, it was. I ascertained this pretty quick. I went up to the female. When I started talking to her, she completely snapped out of it. I could sense in my spirit that whatever had taken place, it was taking place, was nothing short of satanic. It wasn't until yesterday that the young dog was found behind the residence. The cries and everything was heard in the front and behind the residence and behind the tree line, dead. No visible wounds. No visible wounds. That we could rule out a snake bite. There's no visible wounds. It would have been a massive swelling if it had been a snake. And most snakes in North America, snake bite, in most cases, will never be fatal unless it's somebody that has a compromised immune system or an infant. That wasn't the case. The dog was buried. It was by the person that handled that part of it. Thank God that somebody did that. Said that it was obvious that the dog had been drugged to that location. Okay? You can see the drag marks. That takes anything else out of it other than human involvement. Okay? That's how we know that's the deal. This is not the first time. They had the same thing happen with a cat. These animals are the telltale sign of something very sinister. These are the precursors to more sinister and dangerous crimes, according to the FBI. And we're going to run off that. We're going to run off that. What's that got to do? I'm going to tell you. Do you know how many people have stories that I know of, people I've talked to, that have the horror stories on maiming and mutilation of animals, finding Lorraine Valente in Kentucky has a spread out there, and she does animal rescue. 501 3C nonprofit, YouTube, alternative homesteading. Check Lorraine out. She's been on the show a couple of times. One of her cats, and she rescues cats, and they have medical needs and feed them and all that. And that's what she contends with. And people support her for that work. She's not a veterinarian, so when one of them is something wrong, then they see a vet. This cat come up missing, and which was out of character, only to be returned dead with eyeballs gouged out. Okay? We can take anything, the only thing that singles down to somebody. Folks, here's a serious and alarming pattern of these animals being killed, tortured, and mutilated at the hands of individuals working for law enforcement, and the content and the organization of community-oriented policing. That is the deal. Homeland Security, and it trickles down. It all under this umbrella. Believe me, this Operation Chaos, Google it. Look what chaos, okay? It's chaos. Everything's going on. It's like that for a reason. For those that are targeted, they're going to attempt to try to explain to somebody else what's going on. And about 5 hours into their conversation, trying to tell this person, they're thinking, I hope you get this off your chest. I know you're my twin sister, but bitch, I ain't never coming over here again. I'm done. And can you blame her? Success for the community-oriented policing, because their objective is to get you to self-implode, get you to help them isolate you. They'll start there, get the room there, where you go. They did it to me. Every now and then, person, I'm gonna tell you who come over here and told us that it just tried to put a bug in my head. I've got a lot of those. And I got action, Brian, you believe that. When people commit crimes against other citizens under the guise of anything, they're still criminals. That rule of law applies to everybody. There's not a document breathing that circumvents, that trumps American citizen rights to the United States Constitution. None. Okay? That just because somebody's calling it one thing and dancing around it with a different story, a different label, somehow that makes it legal. And that's why you can't ever get straight of it out of any of them. They'll have talking points. And the only talking points are this: safe, neighborhood, doing good, you don't know everything, and then they'll go on to tell you all the crimes and all the hideous things about the person that happened to be in that conversation that's catching the brunt end of these crimes. You'll get that. Zero based on fact. Zero based on evidence, fact of a crime. I thought when you committed a crime, there's a certain process. It is called due process and all that. This program circumvents that whole deal. Until one of the victims they get tired of them, then they'll make up a crime, fact, and then shove them into this system that's supposed to afford them due process into a rigged, stacked deck. If not an attorney in this country is not well aware of what I'm talking about. People say, well, I can't get an attorney. Well, there's a reason for that. There's reasons for that. She needed get some work done on one of her animals. And she was told that after she put on hold forever as a professional, maybe he was calling, that because she wasn't one of in their network of friends on Facebook, and along that line, that they would not do her business. They don't give a shit about the animals, folks. Veterinarians. Well, what does that have to do? What about people save the children? Same difference. They don't give a shit about the children. They take their kids out there stalking when they creeping and stalking. And they tell little Johnny and little Sally Ann, these are bad people. We're working together with the good people, and we were blah, blah. And that, if you raise up a child, right? He won't stray from it. Raise up a child wrong. He won't stray from that either. And that's how they're doing it. These people that not only are they criminals operating, as I've never committed a crime in my life. That's what a true criminals don't say. they'll tell you how good they are and what they're doing is good. I might have made a mistake here and there, but I live down there and I go to a good faith church, etc., etc., etc. All the talking points. They don't care about the children. 300,000 missing every year. CPS loses 300,000 every year. The same people that save the children, save the neighborhood, save the this, save that, are the very people running the deal. Can I prove this, what I'm saying? I absolutely can. Which element would you like for me to prove? If I talked about your town, your city, which element would you like on the table? You want me to prove uncategorically that the sheriff of Lee County or Irwamba County has and is and will continue to commit crimes. What crimes have I mentioned? You gotta have to go back and look. Do they prop up trap houses and sell dope forever and a day? Yeah. When I say they control the dope and the crime, I'm not just talking about it. By God, I will play it. But I've got people that say they don't want to talk about it then. Don't want to do it. Well, I'm scared to say I wouldn't have. Don't let them know I said something about it. Scared for the truth. Scared to stand up and face the criminals. Face what is wrong. Call it what it is, and challenge it. Come hell or high water. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to continue to do that because I believe that all Americans, we speak about crimes against humanity. That's what we're talking about. I've seen the real. I've seen, and I'm going to do more on Trigger. I've seen individuals, that individual especially, contort his body like a serpent and take a completely different voice, a different human being talking. I thought that was just exorcist. And people keep saying exorcist, and I'm going to tell you, folks, that's real. That's real. If I a person that got a Bible with fish on it and got a cool preacher and all these other things, okay. So this is a demonic. None of these people that I mentioned here were true born again. How many of them claim they believe in God? Well, there's a reason hell's going to be full of people. And why it's the gate and many will enter therein is serving the master of lies, hate, and smear tactics, and criminality that is biblical proportions. And why should anybody be surprised or shocked to hear the things that I'm saying? Any information on this individual, I'm not going to stop until we find out. And it's County Road behind, it comes out Brown's Grocery. That area. And somebody knows, if other people have had problems there, let me hear from you. We'll find out who it is. I think that we need to know who it is. That's the person. And folks, let me tell you, we do know this. This individual is working the orientation. Okay? I'm going to do some more tomorrow. And I'm going to further make the case for you. When we talk about murder and kidnapping, I'm going to give you some cases that I know about firsthand, a breakdown of why this murder and this kidnapping or disappearance, why it happened, what happened, what they did, and then we'll tell you what really happened. And I'm going to tell you the people behind the murders and the disappearance. I'll give you the names. So you might want to stay tuned. And we'll do that as well. So, folks, let me tell you, you think that these folks out here doing what kind of have they're doing all these things. What they're not telling you is when you have these precursors, when you have when the devil's in the mix, that's what's going on. When the devil's there and God ain't, and God is not in it, or in the people that are in the program. Got a lot to process. Folks, let me hear from you. Subscribe, share, like, and welcome your comments down below. Until next time, God bless you.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you